I never thought I would be sitting down and filming this video, but here we are today, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how I finally fell in love with homeschooling after quite a number of years. I know a number of you have been asking for like what curriculums we use, how we go about our like daily rhythms, all of that. And so I want to tip into that just a little bit here today. I'm gonna first start with our story of kind of my history leading up to this point, because everything will make a lot more sense then, but then I'm gonna go through in detail our curriculum, kind of our weekly schedule, and then of course once we actually start school, I would love to, if you're interested, take you along in some like day in the life of exactly how we homeschool and show you all the ins and outs there. So if you would like to see that once we started homeschool, leave this emoji in the comments below and it'll just let me know that that is something you're interested in. Quick recap of how all this started. I went to a private Christian school through grade 6. Absolutely loved it. If you had asked me what my favorite subject was, I would have said recess. The only reason I got good grades in school was because I was so competitive and determined. So I never really enjoyed reading. The books to me were just something I had to get through, but I had that fire behind me because I wanted to be better than my classmates. So anyways, I loved school for the social aspect. I was the social butterfly. So then when we started homeschool, it was a little bit like, oh, what's this gonna be like? I wasn't quite sure what to think. Ended up having a good experience with it. I graduated through Abeka's video program, went to Abeka and graduated with 313, I believe, fellow homeschool graduates through Abeka. So that was fun. But I just always thought, well, I'm not a teacher. So when Josh and I got married and started having kids and talking about, okay, what are we gonna do for school? In my mind, it was obvious we would send them to a private Christian school and it would be a great option for them. For me, I felt like I would be a better mom if we did it that way. And before we get into this any further, I just want to say, I think homeschool can be a great option for some families. I think private Christian schools can be a great option for some families. I am simply just sharing my story. A lot of you have asked about it, and that's simply what I'm doing here today. No ulterior motives. But our journey to homeschool, I was really like eager to get started in like pre-K and then kindergarten, and all of that was just kind of like playing school, right? Like learning your alphabet, learning colors, learning numbers, you know, all the easy stuff. But then first grade came along and I was like, all right, now's the time. Like it's time to get her enrolled in a school. Like this is what I always thought we would do. And Josh was good with it. And so we enrolled our oldest daughter in a private Christian school, highly recommended by a number of people. And just kind of anybody you would mention the name of the school to would be like, oh yeah, like that's a good one. And so we felt really good with our decision. Well, the first day of school came, and long story short, but it ended up with both my oldest daughter and myself sobbing. It was definitely a lot harder than I had anticipated, but I comforted myself. I was like, well, it's just the first day. Like we'll get over this. It's new to both of us. It never actually ended the entire school year. We were both just not enjoying it. It did not seem like a good fit for our even farming lifestyle. I felt like I never even got to see my daughter anymore. And I felt like when I saw her, we were crying over having to leave home again and go back to school. And anyway, that entire year, there were just a number of things. We were disappointed in some things with the school, highly recommended as it had been. Despite all of the hardness that first school year was for us, it gave me a passion for homeschooling that I don't think I would have got regardless of almost anything had that school year been any form of easy. And so I thank the Lord for it now, because that's where my passion for homeschooling began. I did not know how we would do this, but I knew we had to do this. And so our decision was firmly made for the following school year. We were not sending her back to the school. We would homeschool. And so I went to what I knew, which was Abeka, highly recommended by almost anyone. With the video programs, we thought that would be a great option. I wouldn't have to do the teaching, which, you know, so hopefully she would actually learn. So we did that for the next 2, maybe even 3 years, and it was okay. There's definitely some good things about Abeka. I'm not trying to badmouth any curriculum here. I know a lot of people who loved Abeka. I graduated through Abeka. I think they have some really good things, but it just did not seem like quite the right fit. Like the video lessons were really long and we ended up having to spend hours in our books. People were suggesting like homeschool conferences, you know, go look at different curriculums, and I was overwhelmed by that. I was like, well, I won't know anyway until I actually try it, and then it's too late. And anyway, one of my friends suggests The Good and the Beautiful. They were talking about it. I was doing some more research on it and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm kind of loving what I'm seeing here. Like I started getting really curious about it, and so we actually ended up returning the books that we had ordered for last school year. I think I did a homeschool curriculum video last year with the books that we originally had ordered. Those were returned and I went ahead and ordered The Good and the Beautiful. And I'm not saying that The Good and the Beautiful is better than any other curriculum. The thing that makes me almost emotional to talk about is last year doing this curriculum is the first time that all of us fell in love with homeschooling. I was almost sad when the school year ended, which is saying a lot coming from me. We are so excited to get started again. We will probably get started here in the next couple weeks. So I think the biggest key is if you are interested in homeschooling, give it a try. You don't have to be perfect right from the beginning. It can be a learning journey, and it always is. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You can learn and you can grow with it. If you're already homeschooling but feeling like you're not thriving, check out different curriculums. What works really well for us might not work really well for you, and vice versa. And so I think that's one of the beauties of homeschooling. You have that flexibility to try out different curriculums, different even methods of homeschooling. I know some people are really fond of like Charlotte Mason or like a specific style of teaching, while others have a specific curriculum, while others have just a different schedule. And I think there's so much beauty in that in the homeschooling community, is that you have that flexibility to cater to your teaching style as a teacher and also to your kids' learning style. So having said all of that, I'm gonna go through a little bit of our weekly schedule with homeschool. And one thing that I really appreciate about The Good and the Beautiful is they actually only have 4 school days a week, meaning book days, and there's the 5th day is always considered a field trip day, which we definitely do not go on an official field trip every single week, but we're always learning. And I feel like, again, living on the farm, a lot of that comes naturally, but also just in life in general, learning new life skills. Like there's so much more to schooling than just the books itself. And so we really love that little bit of flex in our schedule with only having 4 book days a week. Last year, we ended up doing book days 5 days a week most of the time, but then we just had a lot more time left for vacations or holidays or little trips or, you know, special outings, things like that, as they naturally came into our schedule, which was just really fun. It really took the burden off of me as the teacher to not be like, okay, like if we take this trip, like what are we gonna do with our books? Like it just really took that load off. Basically what we like to do is Mondays is drawing day, and I ordered for this school year these sketchbooks. These are just off of Amazon. I will try to link what I can down below. These came in a pack of 3, and they're just these sketchbooks, nice heavy covers, and the pages are definitely, I would say they're a cross between like printer paper and cardstock, but they're pretty heavy. And we love for art days doing Art for Kids Hub on YouTube. I think they're pretty popular. I think Hudson actually drew one in his already a little early, but they really love that. They have some versions on there for toddlers, some for older kids, and it's always something that the kids look forward to every single week. Wednesdays is usually our baking day, so I'll try to do just some special something in the kitchen that the kids can make that teaches them life skills in the kitchen. I think we're gonna go through the curriculum first, and then I want to tell you something that I'm really excited about that we have coming up for this school year. So I think the way that would maybe make the most sense to do this is I'm just gonna go through grade by grade, and in case you are looking for specific information on the good and the beautiful, hopefully this will give you a pretty good idea. A couple of things that I like just overall about the curriculum is how character focused they are. Maybe if you think of a Christian curriculum, you would think more of a Becca, but I've been amazed at how much more of actual like Bible verses and Bible stories are throughout this curriculum than even with Abeka, which I appreciate. They do also have the option of some video lessons, but maybe we'll just talk about that kind of as we go. The Good and the Beautiful has a YouTube channel that has even some like kids little workouts that the kids have been really liking. They have some songs on there, some alphabet songs and things like that that anybody can access. You don't even have to be using The Good and the Beautiful to access them. But I'm going to start with 5th grade, and this is the language arts and literature. So as you can see, there's a lot of color. I would say that they focus a lot on spurring on your child's imagination with stories, with beautiful artwork. Our oldest went into the school year not enjoying math, and we were both like, well, let's see how it goes. And we start the first video lesson. It's unlike Abeka in that these videos are only around 8 to 10 minutes long. I really like that because it still teaches her the concept, but in less than half the amount of time. The video started off with like this beehive and all the hexagons, and like just immediately drew her in. They really take a lot of nature into all of their teaching, and maybe it's not the same for all kids, but that definitely strikes a chord with my kids. So this is the language arts and literature. Another thing about The Good and the Beautiful is it is a lot more affordable than a lot of curriculums I've seen. So that's another plus. These are the geography and grammar cards, and then it actually comes with this entire book set. Everything is so pretty packaged too, but there's a number of her readers in here, which is really nice to have. There's also this little book here. And then for her math, this comes with the math answer key, the mental math, map and mysteries, and then of course her math book. And I cannot wait to see her face when she sees this, because it has horses, which is her all-time favorite thing. So that's really fun. But you can see again, they do such a beautiful job with everything being colorful. The lessons are not overwhelmingly long, including lots of like nature and hands-on things and things like that. So anyway, really excited to get back into that again. I think I'm gonna start official history curriculum next year, but for this year we're planning to do the Tuttle twins, and I've heard a lot of good things about that. Okay, let's move on to Hudson's books. He's actually in 2 separate grades, so he is a grade ahead in math. For the younger grades, you get this little math box, and this has been a really fun one. Last year his box had like airplanes in it and things like that. This year we have this little, it's like a cardboard, looks like we have temperatures, you have the months of the year, and then there's a little graph on the end. And then it just comes with little, these are magnet shapes it looks like, has a little measuring tape in here. We have a dice and some squares, and then a couple of pegs. And this box will be used throughout the entire school year for different games that it tells you how to play in the math book and different activities like that. So that's been a really fun thing for him, and in just making it almost like a game when you do math. And then that of course comes with his math workbook. Again, same story. Y'all know I've had so many black and white books recommended, and I'm like, no, I can't, like that's not how my mind works. We need some color, we need it to look exciting, and that's exactly what they do. They do such a beautiful job of laying it out in a eye-pleasing way. And then for Hudson's language arts, this would be level 2. So many paintings, and often the kids will be asked to paint something, watercolor something, and it'll teach them how to do that as well. This one also comes with a few of these little readers. These are actually hardcover. Like, these will go probably in just our library after this because they're really fun to read. And then it also comes with these reading booster cards. And this is addressed multiple times a week, I would say, at least, sometimes even daily. It has the sight words, but then also just kind of core things that they're learning and an easy place to reference them. Leslie is just getting into kindergarten this year, so she has her little kindergarten math here, which is really fun. She did a little bit of pre-K last year, and if you want to see more in-depth curriculum stuff, they have a lot of sample pages on the website as well. And then this is a little kindergarten prep book. This is a fairly thin one, so I think we might do kindergarten prep and then also the actual kindergarten book this school year for her. At the end it has these punch out cards just to have on hand, easy. We have some games and things like that. And she also has her own little Math K box, which she'll be so excited for. It has these little squares. We have some tiny little wooden cars and then some pegs as well as Hudson's had. And I am not sure what these are. These are little wooden blue sticks that I don't know what we'll use them for, but we will find out. So anyway, these little math boxes have definitely been a highlight for the little ones. We absolutely loved science last year. We did the science for little hearts and hands, I think it's called. And it was so beautifully done. It was very geared toward preschool, which was fun. Like, even for the older kids, they just loved it. They rotate between one day you read them a story, which is in this beautifully illustrated colored book, and the other day it's a short video lesson. We're learning about birds, and they'll actually have video clips of these birds and things like that yeah, just have been really fun. There's quite a few like science experiments in there that are just really easy, things that you'd usually have on hand anyway. So that was really fun. But this year I decided, well, our oldest two are now in 2nd and 3rd grade, I guess, between language and math, and then 5th grade. So we're gonna do something a little bit more higher level, if you will. And so we are starting one of their science units. This one is all about mammals, and I looked through these and I think the kids will love them so much. Just do a little page through here. We have the food chain, we have live birth and lactation, which living on the farm, that's not news for our kids, but I'm sure they'll still have fun. We're learning all about horses and breeds. We have the elephant parts here, animal tracks and identifying them, just all kinds of fun things, learning about mammals specifically. And then these books say they're for grades 3 to 6. I went ahead and got 3 of them. I know that our kindergartner might need a little bit of help with it, but she wouldn't want to miss out. Anyway, that is our curriculum for this year. And one thing that I'm really excited to be adding this year to our school is kind of a co-op of sorts. And I would just say with this, if you have a dream, a vision of what you would like to see, and you just can't find it in your area, don't be afraid to be that person to initiate. I have, for a number of years now, wished for a specific homeschool co-op, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And the ones that I found, I just felt like would be more of a burden almost. Anyway, so I got to talking to a couple of close friends, and we have decided to do kind of our own little thing where once a week we get together, and one of them is a professional art teacher, and she will be teaching art for part of the day, and then another is fluent in 7 languages, I think. Anyway, it's crazy. She's so good. She will be teaching a language, and then I was like, well, what do I have to give? But they were both like, teach them homemaking things, like things in the kitchen, life skills, that kind of thing. So that's my little addition to the thing. I'm so excited for it. I think the kids will love it. I'm excited just for that companionship in doing this, and yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes. But I think that kind of wraps up how we got to this point what made me fall in love with homeschooling, and I can honestly say I'm so excited for the upcoming school year. I know there's always ways that we pivot, ways we learn something new every year, but I am passionate to teach my kids, to learn with my kids, and I hope you found today's video helpful in some way. Thank you so much for being here, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden thing.